Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. And as I get introduced to people and learn about their stories, and they're all so unique and so different and so beautiful. And I came across a mom and son duo team. They both live in different parts of the country. They are both filmmakers, producers, directors, and work in the world of cinema. And they're currently making a documentary called Beyond the Cliff. Please welcome to the show today, Ben Sharif and his mom, Karen Shapiro, filmmakers of Beyond the Cliff. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Yes, we're doing great. We're excited to be with you.
I'm so excited to have both of you here. I'd love for you to give a little backstory. I know the backstory, but not everybody watching does, about why you're doing such a great documentary called Beyond the Cliff.
Sure. So the idea for Beyond the Cliff came to me when my autistic younger brother David was in his senior year of college. He attended Pace University in Manhattan. And I realized this isn't the case for everybody whether you're autistic or not, but he had an incredible college experience. It was a wonderful support network for him. He had peers who embraced him. He had academics that stimulated him intellectually, and it was a really wonderful kind of safe haven for him. And the 4-year program kind of just flew by, and all of a sudden we're at senior year, and it's around March, and he's graduating in May. And at this point, we had no idea what was next for David's future, we being my family and I. And it was interesting how everybody kind of had their own ideas, including David. And so I became very interested in what is it like for somebody who is on the autism spectrum to navigate such a transition, such a huge life transition. I know even for myself, I'm neurotypical, and it was challenging for me. So what is it like for people who face a whole different set of circumstances and have different needs as well? And from there, from David, I quickly realized that his story alone wouldn't adequately reflect the vast, it's called the spectrum for a reason. And so what is it like for somebody who is of a different gender identity or a different race, ethnicity, socioeconomic, or grew up in a place that didn't have as many resources. So from there, the idea for the documentary really branched out and became about what is it like for different autistic people throughout the United States to navigate the various transitions. And upon doing research, it's quite alarming, the different statistics and dismal outcomes that many autistic people face in this country.
Karen, as an autism mom, I mean, I bet you were so proud of David, right? I mean, just getting out of high school is a big one, right? And then going on to university and how that looked like for him. I mean, I'm sure you were his biggest cheerleader and with him every step of the way. Would you say there were significant challenges for David going into school? I know that he was very bright and very smart. He graduated valedictorian of his class, right, in high school.
Yeah, but he wasn't always, he wasn't supposed to graduate high school. In middle school, he was told that he was going to go on a non-diploma track. And it was only when his brother Ben went off to David grew up in Los Angeles. Ben and David both grew up here. And when Ben went off to NYU, David was very jealous that Ben was leaving home without him and in his favorite city, New York. And so
it motivated him.
It did. It did. He then went to the school and told them, I want to go to college. You have to put me on the diploma track. And that challenge, they were afraid that the challenge he wouldn't do well with the challenge. He was underestimated. And so he was determined to prove them wrong. And that's led to him becoming valedictorian and being the first in his school to go off to a 4-year university out of the state of California.
I bet as producers, you both have a really grounded sense of, one, living with someone on the spectrum and with a disability, but also how do you feel about all of the different shows now out there, from, Down with Love, focusing on Down syndrome, Love on the Spectrum, which I was in season 2. How do you feel about them creating acceptance and awareness through some of these shows?
We both can answer, but I would say I'm very happy that there's awareness and that there's a growing awareness of
Trend.
autism. And I have mixed feelings about the shows themselves, mainly because what we want to do with our film is have it be the voices of the autistics. And even what we edit, each person that is in the film will have a say in how they appear and their words in the film, because we want to make sure it's the autistics' voices. And when you edit, as you know, you can change things and it can totally be not meant it to be. And so we want to make sure that our film that speaks to the challenges in adulthood speaks honestly and from the perspective of the autistic. Ben, you want to add to that?
Well, Ben, I was just going to ask you, speaking of your mom mentioning challenges, give me some of those statistics that you were mentioning earlier on the show about what it's like to be neurodivergent.
Sure. I don't know many specific numbers off the top of my head, though I know there's somewhere around an 85% unemployment rate amongst autistic adults. A lot of that, I would imagine most of that isn't due to incompetency, just lack of access. And I'm not talking about internships. I'm talking about meaningful, gainful employment. And what else? There are high, poor mental health outcomes and higher than average suicide rates amongst autistic people. A lot of the funding that goes towards research and helping this population, very little of it goes towards outcomes for autistic people. It generally focuses on younger people, and sure, that is important for young people to access diagnosis and get supports that they need. However, there is this strange perception that supports aren't as necessary as they are, later, they're not as necessary in adulthood as they are in childhood. And so you see a lot of parents often equate it to falling off a cliff. They're, used to having their children, their youths have access to plenty of vast variety of federally, mandated supports, only to find that when their child ages 18 to 21, depending on the state, the mandate for those services suddenly drops. And that is kind of, the analogy of feeling like you're thrown off a cliff into the abyss and you have no support underneath you.
Hence this documentary coming up called Beyond the Cliff. Ben Sharif and Karen Shapiro, stay with me, because when we get back, I want to find out how some of our young adults can get involved with your project. Stay with me. Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. With me today, Ben Sharif and Karen Shapiro. They are filmmakers currently making a documentary called Beyond the Cliff. And this is completely and 100% in David's honor. We lost David a couple years ago. I know that still has to be a very sore spot and it just gets raw. And then when you meet these young adults that they're filming themselves every day, it gives you a little sense that David has to be still with you, and you get to peek at what maybe David would be like now, because while everybody is different on the spectrum, I mean, I'm sure you can kind of pick out little pieces that remind you of him. How can young adults get involved with this project?
Yeah, that's a great question. People can get involved by visiting our website. It's www.bdksproductions.com/beyond dash the dash cliff. We can link that and provide easier access. But on the website, we have more information about the documentary, including a introductory teaser is what we're calling it. That kind of is a video sample that explains the project a little bit further and kind of what we're hoping to achieve, the inspiration, David, and where we're at now in the process. So there you can learn a bit more about the film. There's also a way to get in contact with us, and we highly recommend that anybody interested in the film, we hope to, more than hope, we are going to include autistic people throughout the filmmaking process of this, not just in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. Earlier I alluded to the dismal employment rates, and we see this project not only as an opportunity to highlight that glaring statistic, but also just put it into action and hire neurodivergent crew, in all kinds of capacities.
How many people are you looking for to take part in the project in front of the camera?
That is a great question. One that is the answer to is somewhat fluid. I don't have a specific number at the moment. We can't include everybody, and there's a vast array of people who we would love to include, but for time's sake, may not to. And that's why anybody who works with us and who does self-recording for us, again, they will have kind of a say over the usage of their footage, but we hope that will also be used or could be used in our impact campaign, which aims to spread awareness, access to resources, and is really led by autistic individuals, and honing in on what their needs are.
Now, Karen, I know both you and Ben, you live in different parts of the country, mother and son duo team, making a documentary all at the same time. When do you think, Karen, that this will be coming to fruition where people can watch this?
That's another excellent question, because making documentaries is a very long process. And so we are currently in what we call the development stage of our project. We hope to be in production next year, and we hope to finish production next year, but I don't know that it'll be available and be ready until my guess would be 2026, that we premiere in film festivals, and that would be our goal.
I love this. I work with so many young adults on the spectrum. They come to my table talk events, and they are self-advocates, and they are out there pushing the needle forward. I love some of the companies like Ventures ATL here in Atlanta. They hire nothing but neurodivergent folks, and they offer competitive pay and 401ks. And we really do see, it's not I say this on the show quite a bit. It's not about awareness anymore. It's really about acceptance, and it's about pushing people forward and giving them good paying jobs, like you said, Ben, with all of the benefits and the health benefits too that everyone deserves. And our folks can do it. They just march to a different beat, but we all march to a different beat. So
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we just have to accommodate whatever our beats are.
That's right.
But and I think the reason I agree it's acceptance, but it's also, there are people who may know about autism, but think they're just quirky people or just, they don't get how valuable and really a lot of autistics, I would say, it would be an asset to hire someone. I mean, like, when David was working, he was an asset to the company that he worked for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody has a skill set, including our neurodivergent folks. One more time, Ben, Karen, how can people get in touch with you? I have to recommend watching that little trailer on the website. What is that again?
So that is our what we call our introductory teaser, and the website will give you in a moment. But just to note that those are people that we've been meeting with for a while that we gave some cameras to, and it's their self-recordings. They had a say in that teaser, approved everything we used in the teaser, so it's all their words. And people can go to our website, write to us. It may take us a little while. We're part-time on this documentary. We have other jobs as well, but we will get back to you, and we look forward. You'll notice there's some people in the Atlanta area. We will be visiting Atlanta at some point for sure.
You have to give me a
filming.
Gina Ling-a-Ling. I want to meet you guys.
Of course. We will be filming in Atlanta, undoubtedly, because I'm sure some of these people will be in the film. And so we will definitely give you a jingling, Gina, and we'll also reach out to others while we're there.
I'd love for you to meet my son, Lyric, too, who is also on the spectrum. He's 11 years old, going on 35. But that's typical of all kids.
We'd love to meet Lyric. That's so cool.
As neurodivergent as kids are, they are just as neurotypical as a neurotypical kid. They want the same things. They just might not be able to get it out the same way, right?
Totally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Ben, what's that email or what's that website address again?
So www.b as in boy, D as in doll, K as in Karen, S as in smooth productions. I don't know where these words came from. .com/beyond the cliff. But I'm sure Gina can link it on the YouTube page as well. But
I will.
Please reach out to us. A lot of this is informed by the stories of autistic. Pretty much all of this is informed by the stories of autistic people, and some other care providers and professionals working in the field, but predominantly the voices and testimonies of different autistic people, which is really important to us.
I can't wait to watch. Ben Sharif, Karen Shapiro, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you for all the great work you do, for your energy, and for being such an amazing neurodivergent advocate.
I cannot wait to see this documentary come to fruition. And they are currently working on not just getting people in front of the camera, but as Ben said, getting people behind the camera, neurodivergent people who are into video and editing. And there's so many, and in fact, come to think about it, that's a big one. A lot of neurodivergent folks love audio. In fact, I saw some go off to college last year to Full Sail to get that degree. So I'm sure people are going to be reaching out. Ben and Karen, your inboxes are going to be full. Thanks so much for coming back week after week, show after show, trying to bring you the latest information, the tools, the resources, the organizations and foundations, and really cool people like Ben and Karen making a difference in the world of disabilities. So I appreciate, if you know somebody I need to be speaking with, make sure to reach out to me, Gina@gcast.com, or just hit up the website, gcast.com, and we'll make sure to reach out to them for a future episode. Until next time, we live life with the spectrum. See ya. Bye.